guides, one truck. Today we wanted to share a couple hunting stories with you, mostly about turkey. So this most recent one that I went on, it ended up being a pretty good time. And growing up, I never really got into turkey hunting. And Jake could probably speak more towards this because he was well, he's older than I am, so he has a better recollection of this time. But when I was growing up, or we were growing up, I should say, the turkeys used to be a permit hunt. And our zone that we lived in, because the state's separated into zones, never really had turkey permits. So it wasn't anything that we got into because, one, as a kid, it cost money to get the permit. And we didn't have the excess funds for that.
Well, also, the turkey population was not anything to write home about. I was in my 20s by the time I saw my first turkey,
Right.
And they just weren't around.
Which, again, is a huge thing to why they weren't really hunted that much.
Right.
And, I've heard stories from other people about how in southern Maine, there was definitely a bigger turkey population. And again, they had it by a permit system, almost like the moose drawing where, people would submit and get the permit, or the any deer permits.
Yeah.
So, again, like I said, we weren't really big into it. So I slowly have started trying to get into it more. And this past turkey season, this spring turkey season, was pretty good. And you're allowed 2 bearded turkeys in the spring. So this year I ended up getting a Tom and a Jake. And so I went hunting with another guide, and we hit a few spots first, and we weren't really aiming to go out and sit for an entire morning. We just wanted to kind of bounce around, get a few spots under our belts, and just, if there was a turkey, there was a turkey. If not, move on to the next. Kind of like a run and gun type thing. So we started out in the morning, and we hit this, it was a field right next to kind of like a soft wood seam. So as we're pulling in, we see a hen just kind of sitting out in the field, and we could see the head poking up. So we make our way around, and we get into the woods behind it, and we're calling and we're really not getting much feedback. So we look at each other, and we're like, well, maybe it's in. And again, we couldn't tell that it was a hen until later on. We just saw turkey when we were pulling in. So we're like, well, maybe we scared it off. So we decided to poke our heads up into the field. So we look up into the field, and that's when we really could tell, oh, that's a hen.
Yep.
So we made our way back a little bit, and we were like, well, we thought we heard a gobble. So we gobbled for a little bit. We called back, and it ended up, nothing. So we said, well, why don't we go to the next spot? So we load up, we head over to this next spot, and we're walking in, and we're just casually, just run-of-the-mill conversation, and just like clockwork, we take a step, and all it was is just Gobble City. We heard this nice, deep, throaty gobble, and we quickly start setting up shop. So his name's Ben. Ben slams down the decoys and gets it set up and gets them situated, and we squirrel off into the woods. And we were a little bit deeper back into the woods for this one, but we squirrel kind of in some cover. And he starts giving a few calls. So he's calling away, and they're talking right back. And, he would do a call, they would do a call, and you could slowly start hearing them get closer and closer. And as we're calling, this deer runs right through, just choo-choo-choo-choo, right through. And I thought, oh man, this deer is gonna blow us, because it looked like it was gonna run right smack dab into these turkeys. Fortunately enough, it veers off to the side, and I start seeing hens poke out through the further down on the path. And I was like, oh man, they're gonna be down there. The Tom is gonna be following these hens. So I get situated to kind of shuffle myself off to the side to get a better shot at where they're coming in. And as soon as I do that, it starts gobbling off back behind me. So I think to myself, oh crap, I just situated myself in the complete wrong direction. So I slowly inch my way around. So Ben set up, and he was trying to call to drag him across the front of me. So he set up probably like a little bit back and to the left of me at this point. So I kind of shift myself over, and he can see them coming. So he has a clear line of sight for the turkeys, whereas they were coming down an old tote road, and I was at the cross section of the tote road. So I was shooting across this skidder trail.
Yep.
So they're inching their way up, and Ben, they're far enough away so that he's comfortable enough talking. So he says, hey, get your gun ready. So I get it all set up, and they're making their way in. A gobble, a few steps, a gobble, a few steps, and this goes on for about 15-20 minutes where they're slowly making their way in. So they come in, and at first I see the Jake, and I was in the market of if it's got a beard, it's got a home in my freezer.
Yep.
So I see this Jake, and as the Jake's coming up, and I get a clear shot at the Jake, the Tom is actually coming in behind it. So I had already, really dead set focused on this Jake. So I had a perfect line of shot, and I was like, well, at least I'll get one of them. So I take the Jake, and it goes flat down, just boom, right straight down, right in its spot, and the Tom starts scurrying off, but it didn't take off and fly. So it just starts. It's like, oh, Eddie's down. So he scurries off to the side, and he opens it up in this perfect, clear, like line of sight for me. So I take the shot and fold that second one, and I mean, it was a matter of like 20 seconds, 2 turkeys down, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was some good business right there.
That's awesome.
So I go up, and I make it up to the Jake first, and it was probably, we didn't have a scale with us, but if I were to guess, it would be 12, 15 pounds. Nothing to write home about. Yep. So again, I was still pretty excited. Had a decent beard on it. It had actually the beard itself had gotten frostbite from the winter and started fraying apart and breaking off. Yep. Where it was a little bit shorter, and the snow was a little high this year. But that Tom ended up being just a beautiful bird. And again, like I said, we didn't have any scales with us, but all said and done, I ended up with between the breasts and the thighs, or the legs, I should say, it was about 15 pounds or so.
Yep.
No, that was total. Sorry. I ended up with about 9-10 pounds of meat out of the breast and the thighs. Total between the two birds, I ended up with like 15 or 16 pounds. I can't remember.
Nice.
But yeah. So overall, like the Tom ended up having 9-inch beard, 1-inch spurs. You saw the fan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. It was a
nice.
gorgeous fan.
Bird.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was really good. But yeah. So that's my turkey hunt this year in a nutshell. And as always with these, there's a lot of good learning experiences with it, and especially with that run and gun situation, as I'm going to call it. It really it made me appreciate it more, because I'm very I can't sit still. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that type of hunting, and to get that turkey that way, gave me a better outlook on turkey hunting. And it's it's not just sitting there in a blind at 4 o'clock in the morning, because we didn't go out until 7:30 is when we made our way out, which to some people that's late, but
yeah,
for a successful hunt, I would say it really wasn't that late.
So that's mostly the reason that I can't get into springtime turkey hunting, is because you're not moving, you're stationary, you set up your that's where you're at. Here's your call, here's your decoys, bring them in.
Yes.
And just kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
sit there.
Sitting there and just the weight.
Yeah.
The weight is what gets me. And even with like deer hunting, I can sit deer hunting, not as long as most people, but I can still, I can make it probably 3 or 4 hours on a sit with a deer hunt.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like you said, that spring turkey, it just, maybe because it's earlier.
Yeah.
And I cannot sit for the life of me for that spring turkey hunt. The mornings always get me. But as I was saying, with that run and gun style, it gave me significantly more of an appreciation for the turkey hunting, because I was able to get out, do it in a way that I enjoyed it, and have a successful harvest with that.
Right.
Yeah. So, how about you? Any good turkey stories?
Well, let's see. I like I said, I don't get into the spring turkey hunt very much, just because of the stigma of just sitting there. And I'm a very fidgety type guy, so I can't sit still. Even deer hunting, I'll sit for a couple hours, but I don't sit and do nothing for a couple of hours. There's, you do calls, you do rattles, you kind of, and then if the wind changes, you get up, you follow the wind, you do something else. So the springtime turkey hunt, I've never really gotten into, but in the fall, when you can actually get out and pursue, you can hunt. A lot of times you have different seasons overlapping, so you can do partridge in the morning,
Yeah.
and or grouse. Sorry,
grouse.
do some grouse hunting in the morning, and then you get on the turkey right around lunchtime, and kind of, you can get them to shock gobble a lot of times and chase after them. I've had decent luck in the fall, and the one story that I guess I have that was of any interest whatsoever, other than I shot a turkey, was the first bird that I shot, the first turkey that I shot, and the second turkey that I shot were with the same shot. It took them both down in one shot. So I got 2 jigs.
Yeah, 2 jigs.
2 jigs.
The one story that I do find interesting is technically the first turkey that I shot. When we were up grouse hunting, and that turkey came running out, and I was using the Browning, and it doesn't take that, and this, I can't even remember how many years ago this was now, but it was a hefty length of time ago.
Yeah.
And so I loaded that the round, or the shell, into the Browning, and I just remember dumping this turkey right in the head, and its head just went burp, and it put it back up and took off on us.
Yeah. No, I've shot them with not the right load. If you're up, we'll say bird hunting.
Yep.
And it happens to be open season. Maybe I can hit them in the head, but it just doesn't pan out. If you don't hit them with something heavy, they don't
Right.
go down.
Yeah.
And even when you do, I've opened up their feathers, to try and dress them out, and you can see the pellets roll right off. It's like they have this little Kevlar vest on them.
They really do. They're a tough bird.
I've been driving and hit one with my old vehicle there. It blew the side mirror right off it, and the bird did, a spin in the air, hit the ground with one foot, and then flew away like nothing had happened. They're pretty crazy.
Yeah. You remember that time we were riding motorcycle and you almost hit one got right in the chest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ducked just in time, and I could hear its feet click off the helmet.
But yeah,
That was actually the first turkey that I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I think it was the first turkey I had seen too. It's definitely a good hunt. It's a great time. I'd recommend to anybody to go out and give turkey hunting a whirl.
Absolutely.
Especially when you've never done it before. It's just it's a pretty exciting hunt when they're finally coming in. On that note, thank you for tuning in, listening, and stay safe out there, and hopefully you have a good time hunting.
Get some turkeys.